The 14th day of social isolation. I'm not yet climbing the walls. I'm not yet clinging onto the glass like Spider-Man or something yet. I'm not doing it yet. But it's getting close. If I could remember one, I'd tell you a bloody great joke about social isolation, but there's hundreds on there, and please keep sending them to me. It's absolutely brilliant. I love reading some of them. I always make a point of passing them on as well, because the one thing I think everybody needs is a good laugh. And, you know, people may look at each other and see each other as a reason for a good laugh. And a healthy laugh at each other and our foibles and the stupid stuff that we do might actually be okay. Let's not take ourselves too seriously. Sometimes we need a reminder not to do that. So if you had a good reason to have a good laugh and something has really cheered you up, pass that on to others. That's good for raising spirits. And I mean that wherever you are. Okay, how's it going apparently in lockdown? Well, I won't tell you my friend's name, but they experience what I think must be going on around the country, outside and inside many a supermarket today. Looking at the way many of the supermarkets are dealing with this and understanding that many of us, even who have coexisting comorbid conditions like diabetes, COPD, heart disease, all make us at greater risk if we should catch the virus. Well, supermarkets are doing their best to enforce social distancing, that 6 feet at least apart. They're putting marks on the floor. Apparently Sainsbury's have kind of organised a one-way system with arrows to follow. Some supermarkets are even marking the floor outside the shop, trying to keep people 2 metres apart. Now, you know, if you're a road user, if you're a driver, a motorcyclist, a public service vehicle driver, a lorry driver, anything like that, you know how hard it is to keep people apart in fast-moving traffic. Let me tell you why you must know that. You must have sat on a motorway at 70 miles an hour, legitimately overtaking the people to the left of you. And as you sat there at 70 miles an hour, you're looking at your speedo, you might even go just a couple of miles an hour over 70, to actually complete the overtake. I think that's reasonable, particularly if you are following a big vehicle and don't want to stay in its blind spot, okay? I think it's reasonable that you might violate the speed limit just a little bit to get round, okay? But you're sat there, you're even going slightly over the speed limit to get round this, probably even Sainsbury's lorry, or maybe Tesco lorry, or maybe Aldi lorry. And right behind you, all you can see in your mirror is the front grille of a massive car, or perhaps the windscreen of a smaller car, who at 70 miles an hour is that far away from your tailgate. Yep, they are what I would call a Space Invader. Remember when we played the games when we were kids and all the invaders came down going boom 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 boom, and we had a little bases at the bottom that you moved with probably just a key on a button on one side, a button on the other, and a button in the middle to fire, and we'd be going and gradually those green Space Invaders would disappear. Yeah, you just keep filling the machine with coins. Yeah, well, Space Invaders do it on the road all the time, don't they? You actually see them behind you when you're doing that 70 miles an hour with the steam coming out of their ears. As the steam comes out their ears, they're trying to gnaw the steering wheel. Bloke actually tries to eat his own steering wheel. Takes his hand down, goes back to steering one-handed again, and is spitting out bits of steering wheel. Yeah. And they're probably looking at you, and then hands come off the wheel for a moment and they get thrown up in the old... And then the mouth starts to go with, come on, faster, faster, faster. Yeah. If we have people in society that drive like that, are you surprised when you're trying to stand in your 1 metre apart space? There you are, 1 metre apart, yeah, and the person behind is coming up and giving it this, giving it so once again they can look at the hairs on your moustache, if you happen to be a man, or can look right up your nose to see if you've got a COVID infection, or can have a sniff of your breath to see if you've been coughing and if you could give it to them. Yep. Why do they do it? It's acceptable. We live in a society of people that have been taught to be aggressive. They've been taught to push to the front. Push to the front. Everybody has been taught that their need for bread, their need for eggs, their need for toilet roll, their need for butter, pasta, cheese, milk, whatever, they've been taught that their need is really important. And if they have to shove you along and turn that 6 feet apart into 6 inches apart, they'll do it. Yeah, they'll do it. Or they'll get, well, they also would, undoubtedly, I've been told by friends, they're getting verbally nasty as well. Not quite sure in what way, but you could imagine it. Britons are quite good at tutting. Yeah, you can imagine behind getting... Do you know what I think people should do? I think the supermarkets should do it as well. When they see people behaving like this, a very large supermarket guard should come and throw them out the supermarket, because they're endangering everybody else, including themselves. Along should come this supermarket guard, yeah, pat them nicely on the arm, if necessary make a citizen's arrest, and throw them out the supermarket, yeah. If we had enough police officers to stand around in these circumstances, then people wouldn't do it. But guess what? The Tories cut back the police. That thin blue line is stretched even thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. My friend said, obviously, this means that, you know, crackdowns by the government and whatever will have to be harsher. Well, maybe they have to, because if we Brits, on the whole, can't get past our desire to be selfish arseholes and to elbow everybody out the way, yeah? Do you remember, and this is, I won't go on too long, give me about another 2 minutes, okay? Do you remember, with this social distancing thing on, Black Friday sales? Everyone, there was once an advert on the telly, I swear to God, and it was like, get in there with your elbows on Black Friday, get in there, have 'em, have that telly, have that microwave, have it, push 'em out the way, it's yours, you want it, yeah? When we live in a society that is made up of and panders to people like that, is it surprising that people still try and breathe down your neck from behind their windscreens in their car at 70 miles an hour, and they also try to breathe down that same neck, possibly with virus-ridden coughing breath, in the supermarket? Frankly, if we have to get the police in to enforce this, let's do so, yeah. I know there are huge civil liberties issues engaged in here. I also know, of course, that there are people who are just following that perfectly sensibly and perfectly safely and actually being decent human beings. So think about it. As the death toll, I believe, may not be rising quite as fast, and as we hear at the moment, yet again, personal protective equipment They're lying about it. It's not getting through to our staff on the front line fast enough. They're absolutely lying about it. Senior doctors and health officials have been gagged. They're not allowed to talk to the media about the equipment they're not getting. What's a greater threat? 1 in 4 doctors off sick? Or doctors infecting other doctors and nurses and patients because they haven't got the correct PPE? Right, just over 11 minutes, or just about 11 minutes coming up, so I'm gone now, and I might even change into my daytime pyjamas. Bye.